American television sitcom The Steve Harvey Show aired on the WB for 6 seasons, from August 25, 1996 to February 17, 2002. This show should not be confused with Steve Harvey's talk show that ran from 2012 to 2017. The sitcom was created by television producer and screenwriter Winifred Hervey. Prior to The Steve Harvey Show, she also created 90s sitcom In the House, as well as executive produced for The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. It was directed by television and film director and television producer Stan Lathan, father of actress Sanaa Lathan. Both Winifred and Stan also functioned as executive producers.
I had been approached with Steve Harvey before, but I didn't really feel like he was quite my cup of tea, and I had not worked with too many stand-ups. But I ended up doing it with Stan Lathan, came to me, and he's somebody who I've known for a long time and respect very much. And he was involved with Steve, and so that's how I got into that. Steve had just had a show with ABC that was canceled called Me and the Boys, and he was with Brillstein Gray, which was a big management company, and so they were trying to put together another vehicle for him. I didn't really know what I would do with him, because he's a very specific type of a person, and they wanted him to be, I forget what, they wanted him to be an English teacher. I was like, I don't think you want Steve Harvey to be your English teacher. So I felt like I had to meet him. So Stan and I flew to Chicago, and we met him. But then when I sat down with them, you know, I sort of got him, and then that's when I came up with the concept for him.
So you really tailored the character to
his
personality.
Yes, I really tailored it to him. I went off on my own. I told him I wanted him to be a kind of a washed-up, singer. He was in a group like the Temptations or whatever. They were called the High Tops, and now he was down on his luck, and he was going to have to start teaching, but he could only teach music. And he also the girl he used to make fun of when he was a kid is now the principal of the school. So that was that premise.
Fun fact, jazz pianist and R&B singer Patrice Rushen not only served as musical director throughout the duration of the series, but she also penned the theme song. The Steve Harvey Show, in a way, was actually in the works since Steve's childhood. In 6th grade, when he and his classmates were asked what they wanted to do when they grew up, he said that he wanted to be on TV. Steve had a severe stutter, though. But no matter what anyone else had to say about it, he hung on to his dream. Before that could happen, however, he'd take on various other jobs to pay the bills, such as an auto worker, an insurance salesman, a carpet cleaner, a mail carrier, and even a boxer. Things really kicked off for him after becoming a finalist in a national comedy search in the early 90s. That experience eventually led to a long stint as host of It's Showtime at the Apollo, succeeding Mark Curry in that role. His success as a stand-up comedian then led to a starring role on the ABC series Me and the Boys in 1994, where he played a widowed single father raising 3 sons. While that show would only last 1 season, Steve would get another shot to play the lead role in a sitcom just 2 years later with The Steve Harvey Show. The show centered on the character of Steve Hightower, played by Steve Harvey, a 70s funk legend with his own music group, who's forced by circumstances to take a gig teaching music at an inner-city Chicago high school. Due to budget cutbacks, he's also roped into teaching drama and art. Cedric Robinson, played by comedian Cedric the Entertainer, is a coach at the high school and Steve's longtime best friend. Fun fact, Steve and Cedric are close friends in real life as well, and knew each other for years before the show started. Regina Greer, played by Wendy Raquel Robinson, is the principal and Steve's former classmate, who Steve calls Piggy because she was overweight. Steve forms a strong bond with 2 of his students, Romeo Santana, played by Merlin Santana, and Stanley Kuznocki, nicknamed Bullethead, played by William Lee Scott. A couple of other students also served as main characters in the first season, Sophia, played by Tracy Villar, and her rival Sarah, played by Netfa Perry. Fun fact, Tracy played a teen at age 28, only 1 year younger than Wendy. Variety gave the show a very critical review upon its debut. The Steve Harvey Show is a typically pandering comedy from the WB that takes a smart sitcom performer and magically transforms him into a buffoonish black stereotype. The effect is rather like watching Alexis drive into a ditch. The Steve Harvey Show has remarkably few laughs. The couple it manages spring from Harvey's savvy way with a one-liner, not the lame script. The show plays shamelessly off such black stereotypes as big butt jokes and jive talk, a strained formula that the WB appears oddly to have adopted as its mandate. In season 2, the show introduced 2 new main characters. Levita Jenkins, played by Terry J. Vaughn, was a secretary and the object of Cedric's affection. The couple later began dating and eventually marry and gave birth to a child. Fun fact, Terry's real-life pregnancy was written into the show. And Aisha, played by Arian A. Johnson, another student. In the 3rd season, Lori Beth Denberg came on board as student Lydia Gutman. She remained on the show for the rest of its run. Fun fact, rapper Robin Yvette Allen, known professionally as the Lady of Rage, also had a recurring role as Coretta the Ox Cox. She was also an old teen, playing one in her early 30s. Naturally, one of the best parts of The Steve Harvey Show was the music. He went all the way with it by creating a fictional vocal group called Steve Hightower and the High Tops, who would temporarily reunite to perform on occasion. The members consisted of Steve, T-Bone, played by T.K. Carter, later by Don D.C. Curry, Pretty Tony, played by Ronald Isley of the Isley Brothers, and Clyde, played by Jonathan Slocum. 2 of their signature songs were When the Funk Hits the Fan and Break Me Off a Piece of That Funk. Though Cedric was not an original member of the group, he usually sang with them at many events. Fun fact, in addition to singing, Steve is also seen playing the saxophone and piano on the show. Regardless of what the critics had to say, the show was successful enough to squeeze out 6 seasons and never got officially canceled. By 2001, Steve was ready to move on to other projects and wanted to end the show after the 5th season. At the insistence of the WB network, though, he did agree to film a 13-episode 6th and final season. Surprisingly, that last season's ratings were higher than the previous 2, a rarity for a long-running series. Sadly, Merlin Santana was murdered 9 months after the series ended. To find out more about him, his acting career, and tragic death, check out the video linked in the cards and description box. In a February 2002 interview with the Los Angeles Times, Steve was quite candid with how he felt about the show ending, as well as his overall experience. "I'm walking away on my own terms. We lasted 6 years, we're doing well in syndication, and I know this is the best half hour that the WB has ever had. The show put me in people's houses, which was very important. I grew from being just a stand-up to being on this great show. It really had a profound effect." He also added that he wished the network would have had more trust in his vision. This show was never from the Steve Harvey point of view, which I thought the show was supposed to be. There are so many issues I would have liked to have tackled, such as teen pregnancy or drugs. But they didn't want to do that. They felt it would be too heavy for a comedy. They said, "The numbers are great, let's not mess with it." I disagree. You can make anything funny. The series was first distributed to syndication in the United States by Columbia TriStar Television Distribution in 2001. 2 years later, Columbia TriStar Home Entertainment released The Best of the Steve Harvey Show, Volume 1, in North America on DVD. The disc features 5 episodes of the series. In 2022, Sony Pictures' YouTube channel, Throwback TV, posted several clips and episodes from the series for streaming purposes. This led the show's distributor, Sony Pictures Television, to launch a channel specifically dedicated to the series that summer. Currently, all 6 seasons of The Steve Harvey Show have been made available for streaming online on Pluto TV, Tubi, Amazon Prime, and Hulu.